interested with U.S. immigration? Can Donald Trump give you a green? Hey guys, before you file for your spouse, hi guys, I'm back. Freedom now. I'm back. I thought I was live earlier. We were experiencing technical problems. Come back in. Type in freedom now. I'm going to do this all over again because apparently a whole lot of you missed the earlier broadcast. I'm Latoya McBean Pompey, an immigration lawyer in New York, working with clients in complex immigration cases nationwide. Type in freedom now, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I see that folks are joining. It's good to see you guys. I see Cambria Heights is in the house. Queens, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Come on in. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for waiting. You guys are the best. My apologies for the technical problems that we had earlier. Good to see you. All right, I have some really important information that I'm going to just share a second time with you. Okay. Hey there, Bethany. Great to see you. Thank you for being here. Hey, Robert. Thank you. Freedom now. Freedom now. Let me know also, friends, where you're joining from. I do see that I am fully live right now. Tonight, we're going to talk about big news involving a new quota that ICE has been given to arrest more people per day. We'll also talk about what's going on at the State Department and their reorganization and with students. They are doing some crazy things right now with students. Thank you, Emmanuel. Good to see you. Thank you for being back. And then thirdly, guys, we're going to talk about some great news from a decision that came out yesterday out of Massachusetts, out of the federal court there involving the applications that were paused by USCIS for individuals who entered the United States under the Biden parole programs, the various parole programs. So we'll touch on all of those topics, and I might be able to answer a question or two at the very end. Thank you so much for being back with me. Excellent. I feel energized. I almost didn't do it. I was like, there is no way, no way, no way I'm going back. But I had to because the information is so important. Okay, now let's get into the first big issue. ICE. Guys, 3,000. 3,000 is the number that ICE has been given to arrest people per day. If you do the math, you'll see that this puts it a little over a million a year. All right, very short, quite short of the 15 million to 20 million that the Trump administration promised that they would be deported. Still a big number, right? Still very ambitious. 3,000 is what Stephen Miller, as well as Kristi Noem, the DHS secretary, has told ICE in a meeting that they had in Washington, D.C. on May 21st. They directed the ICE ERO, that's the Enforcement and Removal Operations Division of ICE, as well as the Homeland Security Investigations Unit, the HSI, to move faster and bigger and better. That's what they are mandated to now do. They are tired. The White House is tired of the small numbers, and now they want 3,000 people arrested each day nationwide. You might be saying, where will they house all these people? 49,000 are already in custody, and they were only given funding for 47,000 beds. So that's obviously a very big question. Where will they place these individuals? One of the things we know that is also happening is there's a mass coordination nationwide with state and local law enforcement officials to work closely, not just cooperate, really. It's really to be in partnership with ICE to notify ICE of individuals who are in the jails, who are non-citizens, people or undocumented, I should say, individuals in the United States, undocumented, and also deputizing some of these local law enforcement officials to do the work of an immigration law enforcement official. So that's happening nationwide. And I saw yesterday, I had to do this review for someone I was meeting with that currently only Vermont and I believe it's Hawaii, if I'm not mistaken. Only two states right now in the country do not have an agreement in place with ICE to partner with them on these 287G agreements to share information and about and to help ICE with their detainers and all of that. In any event, uh, that's a big number is connected to this big number of 3,000 people who should be arrested per day, the new quota, is the fact that they've made some changes at ICE. They've removed two people from key leadership positions. There's a bit of a shakeup at ICE. The executive associate director of ICE's ERO, he has retired. Then the executive director at Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, has been reassigned. Thank you. Reassigned. And so they're trying to they want people who will be very aggressive. Guys, I will tell you this. I'm not prepared to show this to you right now on this stream, but I will share it on social media. I'm so disturbed by the fact that congressmen and women have been pushing incorrect information about the fact that non-citizens are not entitled to due process, and they can therefore be removed from the United States in an expedited manner, non-citizens. Okay, that's what the playbook is now saying. They're falling in line, and I'll share on social media, maybe in my stories tonight, the clip of a congressman, Republican congressman from Tennessee, who flat out said, non-citizens are not entitled to due process, and therefore, under our law, we could remove them from the United States in an expedited manner. That is such a lie, and you guys need to understand that. So at the same time, they're pushing these lies to get people out of the United States, and they're trying to now up the quota to 3,000 per day. Understand what your rights are, friends. Yesterday, I did a live session on social media. You could find that live session on Instagram and TikTok in its entirety about the Fifth Amendment rights that we all have. Okay. Watch that live session, the replay, to really get that confidence in your mind and in your spirit that you have rights. Okay. So that's the big thing right now, 3,000 per day. Along those lines, or let's just shift over, I should say, to the State Department. The State Department is going through a reorganization, a big one. They had anticipated cutting their staff by 15%. Now they're talking about 18%. And it's going to impact pretty much all of their bureaus across the globe, really. And one of the big things that the reorganization, on the immigration side, we know that the reorganization and cutting of staff and the streamlining of what they're going to be doing at the State Department will impact visa applications, of course, in the processing of visa applications, but also they have restructured the Bureau of Population, Refugees, and Migration, which focuses historically on helping to facilitate the migration of people into the United States. Well, guess what their new mission is now under this reorganization? Helping to facilitate the deportation of migrants, okay? Supporting the administration's efforts to return illegal aliens to their country of origin or legal status. That's now the new focus of this that bureau. So the entire State Department, they're going through major changes. So expect policy changes to the Foreign Affairs Manual as well to happen, okay? So stay tuned for more on that. What they're doing now, guys, with students at the State Department, Yesterday, the Marco Rubio sent a press release to the world, so to speak, saying that the U.S. will aggressively revoke the student visa. Chinese students, those students from the People's Republic of China and Hong Kong, aggressively revoke their visas. And it says the alert said, including those who are members of the Communist Party and those who are studying in various critical fields. It's really unclear right now what those critical fields are. Just so you guys know, on Monday, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, Hong Kong officials, it's all over TikTok, said, we will welcome foreign international top talent from the United States who are being kicked out of Harvard University. We will create our programs and we will make it very nice for you here in Hong Kong. Come here, come help build Hong Kong. And days later, Marco Rubio said, well, okay, well, let's revoke Chinese student visas. Okay, so you see that this is obviously, a geopolitical issue and posturing and all of that. And these students are caught up unfairly in the mix of all of this. So that's the big thing with the Chinese student visas, the aggressive revocation of their status. But certainly, guys, as you know, over the last several weeks, international students have won their court cases to get their statuses, their visas reinstated and such. So I expect that to happen with the Chinese students as well, who push back on all of this. Guys, students more broadly, international students, aside from what's happening now with Chinese students, more broadly, there is a big effort at the State Department to slow down the processing of student visa applications for the F, M, and J visas globally. I'm looking at I'm looking at a cable that was sent to all diplomatic and consular posts globally about what they should do with students. And what they're going to do is put in place protocols to do more social media monitoring of students F, M, and J, and they're going to remove some of the visa appointment slots and do some various things there with the student visa appointments. Who knows how long this will last? Hopefully, it will be very short, temporary changes and pause and slowdown of the visa processing for F, M, and J visas. It says here, action requests effective immediately in preparation for an expansion of required social media screening and vetting. Consular sections should not add any additional student or exchange visitor FM or J visa appointment capacity until further guidance is issued, which we anticipate in the coming days. Appointments already scheduled can proceed under current guidelines. However, appointments that are available but not taken as of the release of this cable should be immediately removed from availability. So that's what they're doing there. So expect delays on the student side with respect to your interviews at U.S. embassies and consulates globally. State Department I think we're going to have a lot to talk about regarding the State Department in the days ahead. By the way, Elon Musk has announced that he is leaving Washington. He's leaving his post. It's over. He's had enough of the bureaucracy. Why do I mention that? I'm mentioning this because I think there is an Elon effect that's going to happen next. Well, or maybe the effect has already happened, which means that the administration did not go after the business community and employment-based visas and processes quite yet, because Elon Musk is there. in the White House. He was very close to the president, not so close anymore. It's a distant relationship. Things are different now, and he is leaving. H-1Bs could very well be affected next, and businesses could be affected next. And so this is something to watch, guys, because with him out of Washington now, and his influence being removed from the White House, I think that eventually they will go ahead and go after H-1Bs and students and foreign workers. Foreign students are first, foreign workers might be next. So let's keep an eye open for that. The last big piece, guys, that I want to touch on with you, this is actually good news. Good news out of Massachusetts Federal District Court. The judge, a judge yesterday, as a matter of fact, Wednesday, issued an order directing the Trump administration to end the pause that it had on applications at USCIS for those of you who had applied for adjustment of status, asylum, or TPS, and you had entered the United States through one of the various Biden parole programs like CHNV, United for Ukraine. You might have been eligible to adjust your status or for some other application or benefit. And the government, as you guys know, a few months ago, pause the processing of those applications. Why? The government said, well, it needs to do additional review and vetting and all of that. Look to see if there's fraud in the system and this and that. But it's been, what, 3 months since they started all of those, since they announced those various pause. And the federal judge, Judge Talwani, in Massachusetts said, this is not right. They need to lift this. And her order also lifts the pause on extension requests from Afghans, Ukrainians, and others who entered via one of those parole programs, like also the family reunification program and other things like that. So that's actually really good news out of Massachusetts. So of course, all of this will be challenged as usual. It's all about the litigation these days. But these are some of the top immigration news I thought you should know about. The ICE arrest quota of 3,000 per day. The applications, the judge ordered that those applications continue all the way until the end. A decision needs to be made on folks' applications who entered under a parole program, and all of the shakeup and changes involving students from China, students generally who are seeking appointments at at U.S. embassies across the globe, and then what was that other? And the reorganization at the State Department. There's a lot going on, friends. There is a lot. Stay plugged in. Stay plugged in. I'm trying to connect as much as I can these days. Okay, so with that being said, happy to answer a few questions that you guys have, okay? Before I get out of here, I'm still at the office, okay? Rishi says Rubio doesn't have any saying. Yeah, he does, actually. He has a lot of power, a whole lot of power, okay? And he is not shy about using his power. It's one of those, the students, I just think it's unfair to them. It's quite unfair to them. Critical fields, of course, will be in nuclear engineering, cybersecurity, all of that. Yes, Abraham, I would agree with that. The message to the World Embassy was to pause all student visa interviews. Yeah, I was actually reading the cable there that was leaked. From whoever at the State Department leaked it. And specifically what AILA, the American Immigration Lawyers Association, has said on this in an email that they sent out to us. They say here that per the guidance in the leaked cable, posts are instructed to not add not add additional interview capacity for student visas and remove any appointment slots that are not yet scheduled until DOS issues further guidance regarding the expanded social media vetting process, which is what I said. Appointments already scheduled can proceed under current guidelines. As I said, further guidance is expected in the coming days, okay? And students should expect that they're going to have delays with visa processing due to administrative processing. Guys, this is how, as we've discussed in the past, it's all about frustrating the legal process. They can't take things entirely off the table, but they could certainly frustrate, slow down, pause indefinitely, and do all of those things to make it impossible for people to either get a visa to come to the United States or to pause applications internally here in the US so that people will lose their status, parole status, and then maybe, who knows, for some people, they might even lose their ability to get that next application approved that they filed. So that's what this game is all about. There's a lot to it, okay? Hey there, Marcia. Good to see you. Thank you. I'm married to my undocumented spouse. I'm a U.S. citizen. You can still file for that person. U.S. citizens can file for their spouse. Thank you. Let's see. You're welcome, Aaron. Thank you so much. Okay. For processing times, guys, I'm seeing questions about the I-90, which takes a long time these days. Just look at USCIS's website for their updated information on that. Let's see. Okay, so with 3,000 per day quota, wouldn't that pressure ICE to detain immigrants with no criminal records to meet the quota? Yes, ICE is already pressured to arrest whoever is considered collateral, of course. They are already facing a lot of pressure, guys, a whole lot of pressure. And I think right now they're scrambling. They're scrambling to make it work. And now with this 3,000 quota, that's not gonna be a great thing to watch, right? Thank you, guys. Freedom now, freedom now. Thank you. Let's see. Why has my N400 interview been canceled? Not sure. Not sure. You could speak with someone about the application itself. I'm not sure why they would have canceled your interview. Maybe they're just maybe it will be rescheduled. It could very well just be a very simple administrative rescheduling that's going on that has nothing at all to do with the merit of your application. Okay. Is it safe to travel to the United States? Of course, yes, it is safe to travel to the United States. Freedom now. Okay. Anyone who came illegally, despite no criminal record, should be nervous. You didn't come in the right channel. Let's keep going. Is there a process for someone to file for their nephew? There might be if the nephew is under 16 and adopted not for immigration purposes, but adopted for various reasons, like maybe a biological parent is deceased, something like that, right? Or unable to care for the child in their home country anymore, and there's a legal adoption. It's a bit tricky, that whole process, when you're trying to adopt someone, obviously internationally. You should speak certainly to someone who specializes in adoptions. What we do, we handle the immigration side of things to make sure that you could actually then file for that person for a green card. Hey there, Catherine. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. green card holder through asylum. I've since 2022, safe to travel outside of the United States. For most people, green card holders, 99% of you will be fine, and it's safe to travel outside of the United States for green card holders. Thank you guys. Let's see. And I'm tonight I'm sharing some of your comments, not just questions, but comments that you're putting in the chat. Um, uh, Someone says freedom now, all the distractions, stress going on, focusing on the evil in this world, distracting us from who was and is to come. It doesn't have to be a distraction. You don't have to make it a distraction when you are getting information that could be valuable not only to you, but could be valuable to a loved one or someone you care about, and empowering yourself in the event that you know you're in a situation that's not great. You'll remember what that lady on YouTube or someone who you saw on Instagram, what he or she might have said to empower you and equip you to handle that situation. Like, you know, oh yeah, I have the right to remain silent. I don't have to actually tell them how I came to America, what, you know, and all of those details and whether I'm legal or not. I actually have a right to remain silent, and I have a right not to open my front door unless I see a judicial warrant signed by a judge, pushed under the door or through a window, right? Like, you know those things now, right? Maybe last year you weren't thinking about these things. This year you are. So it's all about empowerment. You could still have him live, move, and have your being, right? In him, you could still live, move, and have your being, but you could still be informed and wise and educated, okay? Um, all right. How will the removal of conditions? I'm so glad you've asked this. How will, because removal of conditions is so tricky, and I shared a short video with you guys about a green card. Well, he lost his green card because he did not know that he was supposed to file an I-751, and USCIS placed him in removal proceedings. Very sad story. Placed him in removal proceedings, and he went along with his life not knowing that, and he missed his hearing date and got a removal order issued against him. And then he thought, oh, it's time for me to apply for naturalization, I think. And he went ahead and did that. And USCIS coordinated ICE to be there when he came to their office for his interview for naturalization. And ICE arrested him, and he's still detained tonight in Louisiana. Okay, so removal of conditions is not anything to joke around with. How will removing the conditions on my green card, 2-year green card, be affected due to me getting a divorce? It could actually help you because that's one of the ways that you could do it on your own through the waiver process. You would be arguing that you had been in a genuine marriage, but it ended because of divorce. And through that process, you can get your 10-year green card. And then you'd have to wait 5 years to seek naturalization. Can you help my family with the DV lottery? The way that we help people with DV lottery usually has to do with if they are concerned by information they've shared during the DV lottery process, and now they are dealing with, you know, wanting to file for someone who they'd never claimed before on an application. So we look at the fraud and misrepresentation issues and what the law says about how those people can be assisted. That's really what we do with respect to that. And also, if they have a visa interview coming up, of course, we could assist with that, particularly if there are sensitive things that they're worried about. Absolutely, we could do that. We could help with that. Um, Treasure says, I'd like to speak with you after this broadcast. I'd like to actually go home and pet my dogs and have some dinner and speak with my husband and maybe check social media and chat with you guys on social media while I'm sitting on the couch with the TV on. Okay. So I can't talk with you after this, okay? I have to be balanced too, otherwise I will not be any good to you. Thank you though. Go through your US embassy to come to the US. Oh, I've given you enough play tonight. Enough is enough, princess. Enough is enough. um, I was so angry earlier. Now that you guys are here, I feel good. But I was so upset that my earlier broadcast did not go through. Um, let's see. Can father with citizenship apply for a child older, not married? Carla, I'm not, here's what I'm thinking you're asking. Can a U.S. citizen father file for an unmarried adult child? The answer is yes. It will take several years for the processing of the case and for the visa application, for the visa to become available for that individual. But yes, that can happen. Freedom now, guys. All right, let's go down here. Let's see. Hey there, Christina. If I-601A waiver is approved, husband goes for his visa interview and returns to the U.S. Are there other paperwork that need to be filed? Oops, I've lost my other thing here. Other paperwork that need to be filed. So, for I so going to the biggest issue there is passing the scrutiny at the US Embassy and then coming back and being able to get his green card sent to him in the mail and to follow the instructions very specifically that are given to him at the US Embassy during his interview and after the interview. Okay, and he must come back within 6 months of getting that immigrant visa. Um, Can an employer file a petition for an employee if he works privately? Privately. Not sure what you mean by the privately part. Employers can file for certain employees. It's a technical process. The employer should obviously be assessed for their qualifications to sponsor someone and meet the sponsorship level, the salary level and all of that, the prevailing wage and all of that that's required for the position. Um, green card holder. Green card holder has a misdemeanor case. Is it safe to come back into the US? Green card holders can return into the United States. They do treat green card holders differently if you stay out longer than 6 months. They can subject you to additional scrutiny at the airport. If you have a misdemeanor case on your record, it does not mean that you cannot enter into the United States as a green card holder. You can enter the United States. It just means that depending on what that is, well, you should be fine, I think. But for some people, depending on what the criminal conviction is on their record as a green card holder, they can be detained at the airport. And for others, they will just be issued a notice to appear in immigration court. It just depends on the severity of that conviction under our law, what our law says about that particular conviction, like crimes involving moral turpitude, how many convictions you have, over what period of time did they occur, those kinds of things. But you will be able to get back into the United States, okay? Let's see. Let's go here. Can speeding tickets cause detention at an airport for a green card holder? No, it should not. It does not. No. I've heard about speeding tickets within the context of students, okay, within the context of international students. That's where we were really hearing about, oh, I only have a traffic violation or a ticket, and now they're revoking my visa, my student visa. And those students were successful with getting their status reinstated and such. But green card holders have nothing to worry about. Let's see. Let's see if I could understand this. Is the pause left immediately after the judge ordered the administration? So what Curvins is asking has to do with what I shared earlier about the fact that yesterday on Wednesday, a federal judge in Massachusetts ordered that the pause on applications for individuals who entered under one of the various Biden parole programs, that pause be lifted, okay? That things go back to normal and that these applications be adjudicated, go all the way to the end for a decision. USCIS, normally USCIS, when a judge issues an order of that nature, USCIS usually puts out an announcement on its website saying based on such and such litigation or court order, here's where things are with the state of affairs. So we'll look for that, of course. I had the order here. I think I might have closed out of it to have gone. I was going to go to the last page. You're welcome, Eleanor. You have such an elegant name. I love that, Eleanor. Okay, let's keep going. Freedom Now, guys. Don't forget to type in Freedom Now. If you're just joining tonight's live session, I shared earlier that ICE has been directed over the a few days ago that their new quota is 3,000 arrests per day, and they've shaken up the leadership. Some people have left as a result of this new quota. The White House wants to see things done differently, and they don't like the slow pace of deportations. Can undocumented aliens with a valid ID travel in different states in the United States? Nicoletta is asking. So if you have, you'll need a real ID to get on a plane. Okay, so look at TSA's website. If you have a real ID, you'll be able to get on an airplane. Otherwise, you won't be able to get on an airplane. If you're talking about traveling in by train or some other way that doesn't require any ID, a real ID, then that's fine to do. Although I haven't heard lately, actually, through my own practice here at McBean Law, of folks being stopped by ICE on Greyhound buses or trains lately. But that does happen. We've met with people who've been in those circumstances, certainly, but I haven't heard that lately because it was safer to fly around America versus being on a train or a bus. But I haven't heard. If you guys have heard about these stories lately with trains and buses, say something about that in the comments. I'm curious as to what you're hearing on the ground. Freedom Now, guys. How long can a green card holder take to file for a mom? Is that mom? I'm not sure what you're asking there, but green card holders aren't permitted to file for their parents. Only U.S. citizens can do that. Thank you, Rishi. Okay, Dawn has some good news to share with us. Yay, thank you, Dawn. My husband got his I-130 and I-485 approved. Great. What's next? The green card? The green card in the mail is next. Thank you for that, sharing that good news. Congratulations. Freedom Now. This is all about getting your status fixed under the law for general information and purposes only, not legal advice, sharing what the law says. Where can you check if you have anything wrong with your records without your notice? So, if you're to check if you're in immigration court or if you have a removal order, you would go to, I'll type it in here. Well, I have a video out there on how to check if you're in removal. So to check just go through, I think that video is from 2023. How to know if you're in removal proceedings. You can go to Google and type in EOIR, automated case status, something like that, and you'll put in your alien number and it'll show you information if you are in court or had a removal order issued against you. That's one way of finding out if you're in removal. To find out if you have things wrong on your immigration record or history, you could always request a FOIA record from USCIS. A FOIA is free from the government, and it will be sent to you, and you could review your FOIA to see what's on your record. And if you have any If you're trying to understand, well, what does this mean or that mean, you could speak with a professional to help you to review your FOIA for you. What's your fees for naturalization for someone with disorderly conduct conviction, 1 year probation, and 2 dismissals? So as you probably know, I never share the firm's fees in a public forum. I'm married to a U.S. citizen, and I have my work authorization and parole through VAWA. Okay, is that safe? Nothing's wrong with that. Is what safe? I don't know what you mean by is that safe, but you're okay. You're on track for a green card. I hope your VAWA case works out for you, okay? My friend is here on humanitarian parole and married to a permanent resident. How does yesterday's decision affect her status? Will she be able to apply for adjustment of status and stay in the United States? So the issue there when a green card holder files for a spouse, you know that there is a wait-in period to do adjustment of status, wait-in period for a priority date to become current and a visa to become available based on the visa bulletin. And also to adjust one's status, one has to be in the United States continuously in a lawful status. And the tricky part, Christine, about the humanitarian parole is the end date, right? Because parole is ending, right? The government has ended it. They couldn't abruptly just snatch the status away from people right away based on a court order, but the programs are over, right? So they will come to that end date. So that's if that person, however, who you've referenced there, have an application in process at USCIS will have to continue to process it and make a decision on that person's application before them. Based on what was said about the worldwide freeze on F1 visas, by the way, I've not said there is a worldwide freeze, but on F1 visas, is it possible to still get an F1 visa to travel to the United States to attend school in August? I think that it's going to be very challenging to get an appointment because they're not, whatever open spots they have, they've been ordered not to fill those open appointment slots until they put in place these social media vetting protocols and guidelines and all of those things that they're going to do. I think really, truly, they are going to be placing more students in administrative processing 221G, which will inevitably slow down their processing to not be able to attend school in August. For some of them, they will not be able to make it in time because they won't be able to get their visa issued in time because of 221G administrative processing. So although they might get an interview after this temporary pause or freeze, as you call it, has been lifted, they might be able to get their interview, but then to get the visa now is another story. And that's where I think the backup plan by the State Department is let's put them in 221G administrative processing and slow things down for them because we want to spend more time looking through their social media to see what we can find about anti-Americanism and anti-Semitism or anything really that they want to look for. So that's how I think it could hurt some students for August. Okay. Freedom Now. It gets so quiet when you have no idea. They turned off the AC and everything. It just gets so quiet. That's really my cue that it's almost quitting time. If you're now joining, I shared earlier that 3,000 is the arrest number that ICE has been given per day. And also that there's major shakeup going on at the State Department. And some good news happened in court related to a judge lifting a pause on applications for those with who entered under one of the Biden parole programs over the last couple of years. When you add too many facts, it's kind of challenging to process. Can you send me your New York address? That was an easy one. You could look at McBeanlaw.com. Our address is on there, or you could check Google as well. 235 Mamaroneck Avenue. You'll see our firm address there. Someone says it's a good idea to go home and have dinner with your husband and chat later. I concur. I concur. Is it possible, Isabella's asking, is it necessary to apply for a work permit during the adjustment of status process to my husband, who is a U.S. citizen? It's not. You don't have to do that. It's your choice. It's possible for you to just file your I-130 and your I-485. You can do that. And you already have a Social Security number and card because you're an F1 student, okay? And so it's your choice to continue to be in compliance with your student visa all the way until the point when you get a green card. That's one great strategy to ensure that you have that lawful status still in place through the F1 student process, as a backup, to see how, here, guys, Isabel, it's going to be great for you. You're going to get your green card and it's going to be wonderful. Here's what I had to work on today with a client. Very difficult facts that I had to, not the facts. Facts were easy. It's easy for us. What was difficult was looking her in the face and seeing that she's in this situation. That was what was hard. And with hers, guys, remember we've talked about the fact that the government now is looking at whose cases were denied in the past, and if there's any fraud on the record or anything that looks really suspicious and such, they're looking to place individuals in deportation proceedings. And certainly I think a lot of us were expecting them to do that for new cases that are filed and denied, and fraud or misrepresentation or a crime is found on the record, that we're expecting those new applications to have those consequences of being placed in removal. What I'm seeing in practice is that the government, at least here in New York, is actually looking back. 2019, 2017 denials, looking back. Although these people are not doing anything currently with immigration, they've tried and it didn't work. Case was denied and they've moved on with their life. And now being blindsided by a notice to appear in immigration court based on a denied I-485 adjustment of status case during the marriage process years ago. And this is years ago. And now USCIS is sharing some data that I don't know about that part, but USCIS is taking an aggressive step to now ensure that these people go before an immigration judge and be deported. That was the hard reality that I saw today face to face. A young woman, younger than me, who's going through that process. And the first thing I said to her when I walked into that conference room was, "I'm sorry you're going through this." First thing I said, not even hello. I just said, "I'm sorry you're going through this," right? That's what's happening now. So USCIS, guys, is so different, okay? So different. So Is it a good time to file for citizenship? I think so. For most people, it is a good time to become a US citizen if you're eligible. Friends, I'm going to jump off. I know that there are a lot of people watching right now. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight. I would really love to stay and talk with you some more, but I'm going to end the live session now at 50 minutes. Please watch the replay if you missed the very beginning of today's live session, and follow me on social media and watch yesterday's very important social media live about your Fifth Amendment due process rights. Please watch that live session and be empowered. Thanks so much for being with me tonight, guys. I'm starting to sweat, so I've got to get out of here. The AC is off. And I will see you guys in the next one, maybe tomorrow. Bye-bye.